Hey, I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to start Unit 6, Lesson 1. I want you to know that these vocabulary words are very important to learn. Denominator, numerator, fraction, unit fraction, and mixed number. These are words that we'll be working with. I know you've heard the word fraction before, denominator and numerator. You'll hear me say these words multiple times. Knowing the difference between the denominator and numerator will carry with you through high school. That's something we work with. You need to know the difference or you're going to struggle with math for a long time. And we don't want that. So we're going to start off with, and the definitions for them and examples are right on the other side. So I do want you to review them. You can cut them out and practice them if you want to. So here we go. Unit 6, Lesson 1. Sums of fractions. A unit fraction represents one equal part of a whole. A unit fraction has a numerator of 1. The unit fraction 1 over d is 1 of d equal parts. The fraction bar below is divided into 6 equal parts, or 6. Each part is 1 of 6 equal parts, or 1/6. So when they're talking about this one whole, this whole thing equals one whole, and it's out of 6 because the denominator is 6. So that you know it's a whole because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's making it a whole. If I were to draw something, sorry, I know that's not even. This would not be a whole because I have 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6. To make it a whole, I'd have to add 1 on. A fraction is the sum of unit fractions. The fraction n over d is the sum of n copies of 1d. Okay, that might be confusing you more, but that's okay. Numerator, n, number of unit fractions in the fraction. So this is a number that's in the whole. Denominator, number of equal parts in the whole. The top number is always, always, always the numerator, and the bottom number is always, always, always the denominator. The fraction 5/6 is the sum of 5 1/6 unit fractions. So we have 5/6. So it's showing, here's the whole right here. Because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the denominator is 6. But it's only showing 5/6. That's why it's only circled around 5 of them, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's showing you're adding it. 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. Now the thing you need to know about adding fractions is you cannot add the fractions if the denominator is not the same number. If you look at this, all of these 6s, they're all 6s. If this were to be a 5, you would not be able to add that. But right now we're only working with common denominators, so they're all the same. So now, this is also the same, since there's 5 that are the same as 5 times 1/6. Oh, poop. You know what? I just realized I grabbed the one that I was already marked on. So let's go to a new page. I'm sorry, that's so my fault, but you guys know this is my style. So now, fold your fraction strip. We're not going to do a fraction strip quite yet. I will be making one later, but fold your fraction strips to show each sum. So it's asking you to write it. So for example, I have 3. There's my 3. I folded it. Here's my fold. And I only have 2 of them. So 1/3 plus 1/3. I shaded 2 out of the 3. The other thing you can look at is these are the same denominator. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So again, this one, it's fourths, so I would fold it into 4 equal spots, and I get my 1, 2, 3. They're not exactly the perfect equal. Each one of these represents 1/4. Well, I have 2 of them. So I have 1, 2 shaded out of 4. So you could just add 1 plus 1 equals 2 over, the denominator does not change. You do not add the denominator. That's representing what it's out. So for this, I'm not going in order, my bad. So what I want you to do, I'm going to do number 2 with you, and then I want you to do the rest real quick. So you take, these are, first make sure that's the same denominator. These are all 8s. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 5 over 8. I want you to pause it in a moment, finish this page, and then check your work. So pause it and check your work. So you're working on it, you're working on it. Oh, look at there. We should have 4 6 for number 5, 6 twelfths for number 6, 8 twelfths, and for number 7, 7 eighths. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the next page. And I want to do this one together because I'm worried that you guys might not quite get it. It's asking you to describe at least 3 patterns you see in the fraction bars below. So it's not asking like, oh, this is blue and this is blue. It's not asking for that. It's not asking like, oh, some of the colors are similar. It's asking for things more like 1/2 is half a 1. 1/4 is 4. Break it up, the whole up into 4. If you look at it, everything that has a 2, a 4, a 6, a 8, they have the half in common. They also have other things in common. If I looked at, where is it? 1/6, 1/3. Bet you I could skip 1/9. Now these are all jumping by 3s. 3, 6, 9. So if you look at that, those are the patterns it's looking for. So let's move on to the next page. Now it's going to start, sorry, I'm trying to see, okay. Now it's going to start, let me move this up a tad more, having us learn how to multiply. Shade the fraction bar to show each fraction, then write the fraction as a sum of unit fractions and as a product of a whole number and unit fraction. The first one is done for you. So let's look at 2 of these words. And you hear me say them all the time. Sum and product. Sum means to add and product means to multiply. And they did this first one for us as an example. So if I look at this, it's 3/4, so it has 1, 2, 3, 4 into even. And it's shaded 3. So we know it's 3/4. Well, they want us to write the addition. So 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. So there's 3. So 3, the product of 3 and 1/4. So I'll do the next one with you. So it's 3/8. So I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, I need to shade 3 of them. And I got the number 3 from the numerator right here. So now they want me to add these. So I'm going to write 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. And that equals, how many of these did we shade? And how many fractions are there right here? 3 times 1/8. So I want you to pause it, finish 11 through 14, and then come back and we'll go over it together. So right here, it says 5 out of 5, so I need to shade 5 of them. So I'm just gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To add it, I would take, I'm lying to you, don't put a 5 there. 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. And how many times am I writing this? That's right, 5 times because my numerator is 5. So now if I were to multiply it, there's 5 fractions. So I would take 5 times 1/5. Now if I look at the next one, it's asking me to shade 2 out of 12. The numerator says 2, the denominator is 12. So I'm going to add 1/12 plus 1/12. Now I have 2 fractions, so I would take 2 times 1/12. go down to 13. 4/7. So I would shade, that's right, 4. And I would add 1/7 4 times. So now I have 4 fractions, so 4 times 1/7. And number 14, 7, spit it out, Jody. 7 times, we need a shade, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, we have some writing to do now. We have to take 1/9 7 times. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now 7 fractions plus 1/9. Good job. So now let's flip to the next page. This one, I am going to get a piece of paper for us to do it. John made a large sandwich for 6 people in his family. He asked his father to help him cut it into equal pieces. To do this, they made a paper cutting guide that is also as long as, sorry, I'm reading it through the thing. Cutting guide that is as long as a sandwich. John folded the paper into 6 equal parts, and his father used it to cut the sandwich. So there's some information. John made a large sandwich for 6 people. And then they cut it into 6 equal parts. So, oh, I think that my mom will hurt me if I use that. Hang on. So let me get, so here is, and I'd recommend, I just got a whole piece of paper. I'm gonna make it into 6 equal parts. And how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna fold it in half. So now I have 2 parts. I'm not gonna do this right, guys. Hang on, I'm trying to figure out. So what I did is here is my half, and I folded it and folded it again. These now I have 1, 2, 3, and I gotta do the same thing on this side. Just roll it and fold it. So now I have, let me zoom it up some more. 6 equal halves, all right? So now, if each person ate 1 piece of the sandwich, what fraction of the sandwich did each person get? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of 6, this would be 1/6 right here. These are 6 total and 1. The other way you can look at it is he has this, so you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be my denominator. And this is going to be my numerator, be this 1 right here. That's 1/6. This chunk is 1/6. They're all equal, so each one is 1/6. So, fold your fraction strip to show the fraction of the whole sandwich that each person ate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, sorry, I'm drawing these lines, so hopefully you can see it better. Give me a moment. I'm sorry. So, as you can see, so if each person ate 1 piece of the sandwich, what fraction? So it's asking the question, and they're asking for how much 1 piece is, and it would be 1/6. All right, so now let's go on to the next problem. How many pieces of whole sandwich did John's mother and father eat together? Fold your strip to show the fraction that they ate together. So, let's look at this. How many, it's just asking the question. How many pieces of John's eat together? Well, we would say, for example, this was Mom's piece. And this is Dad's piece. So, how many pieces of the whole sandwich did John's mother and father eat together? They ate 2 pieces. Oh, you know what? Oh, you should pause it, finish this, and then see if you check it. So pause it, finish it. I'm sorry, that's my fault. I got into the fractions too much. So pause it and do the next two problems and come back and check it. After John's mother and father got their pieces, what fraction of the sandwich was left? So we would highlight that because that's all informative. Well, I'm going to say this was mom's. This is dad. We don't want to count that, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6. And now, John and his sister were able to leave one of the remaining pieces of the sandwich. How many sisters does John have? So John and his sister were able to have one of the remaining pieces. Oh, this is all informative. Holy buckets. How many sisters does John have? So, if this is, I'm going to zoom down to help out so you guys can see. Ooh. So if this is John and his sister, 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 sister. How many sisters does John have? Well, this is his mom's, dad's, his. So he has 1, 2, 3. 3 sisters. Wonderful. So, I also would like you, I'm going to try to find another small activity for you to do to work on understanding the numerator and denominator. It will hopefully be a Quizlet. I haven't checked it, but just keep your eye out for an additional piece. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'm missing you and loving you guys. Bye.